Right.
which told me immediately that the hospital name and the other words were basically a different layer, or they were added later. Now, the graphic artist had found that if you open it up within Adobe Illustrator, you can actually see the ninth layers, and the layer with a majority of the time, not all of it, is in one of those layers, and they proved it differently than I did. The other part is I didn't even need to know about the layers. Most of the items I found was basically just by looking at the image. In fact, I had exported the image as a Group 4 TIFF out of the JPEG, out of the PDF rather, and it was a file. It was 18.34 megabytes.
Okay,
and
because our
time and opened it up.
Doug, because our time is running short, could you again do the various colors and his mother's signature?
Oh, sure. Yeah,
and then I want you to tell us about your filing of the criminal complaint with the FBI. We only have about 4 minutes left, and I want to try to get that in, if you can, please.
The two dates on the bottom have two green values. In other words, they were taken from two different forms, probably separated by quite a lot of time. And not all the letters, all the dates are there. They grabbed letters or numbers from other forms. That's the two date parts on the bottom. The signatures are both forged. Both Ann Denham Ann D is in grayscale, and the rest is binary. You can't have that. That's a forged signature. And then the ukulele, the registrar, the second letter, which I think is an L, is binary, but the rest are grayscale, which means that's been forged. Which it makes no sense. It goes on and on like
what
that.
What about Dr. Sinclair's Dr. Sinclair's signature? Is that a forgery or what? Because he's
it was probably his name that was on somebody's certificate. They couldn't get rid of it because his ascenders and descenders touched the line above and below, so they had to leave his name. So they had to take his whole name except the period. The period over the I in Richard was binary. That was added. So I didn't say that was a forgery, but by putting the dot of it really does make it a forgery. But it's goofy. Now, I sent off the complaint. It was you basically have to notify the FBI that a crime has been committed, a federal crime has been committed. And I went through that process and sent it two ways to both Mueller, the director of the FBI in Washington, D.C., and also the agent in charge in Hawaii. So they got it both ways, and I know they got both of them.
Have you received any response from them?
No response whatsoever. It's going to take citizens like yourself to basically write it to them, and also the congressman. That's where it's going to go. I've mailed it off to about 90 congressmen. All the congressmen that are in the Ethics and Homeland Security Committees, and the senators in the Homeland Security Committee, but the Republicans, I figure the Democrats would run to their lives and be scared stiff.
Yes.
So they're not going to touch it. But and I'm not even too sure the Republicans are going to touch it, but they should. This is a clear-cut case of forgery. There's a total of, like I said, now 8 items. There's going to be a 9th. And it is just plainly outright fraud, including mixing grayscale and binary images on the same scan, and that is impossible. I know how the scanners work, and that was the other major thing. I mean, really bizarre stuff were done on this thing.
Why do you think...
They never expected it. They were going to stick the damn PDF up on the web. I think the forger expected them to just print the damn thing out and give them a flat copy. But they didn't. Somebody was lazy, and they stuck it up the way it was, and that was it. They had to live with it.
How long has it been since your complaint has been filed with the FBI, both in, I think, Honolulu or Hawaii? And
I'll tell you right now, I have the receipts in front of me. May 25th.
May 25th.
One was mailed May 25th, and the other one was mailed the day later, May 26th.
All right, so we got a little time. Not that I expect them to respond, but it's a little early to expect a response. However, the nature of such a filing should incur immediate response from the FBI on a high-tech forgery such as this, on such a critical issue. Let's see what happens.
Right.
If you could give out your website once again, then
Sure.
we want to encourage people to email this, to contact their congresspersons, to contact anybody, send it to Robert Mueller, flood his email box with this to let him know that something has gone on here that's dreadfully wrong with the presenting of this forged document, and it just ought not to happen.
It's archiveindex.com. It is a nonpartisan issue. It is a national security issue, and that's how you have to look at it. I'm not kidding. This is really serious. We don't know really who this guy is. We know who his buddies are, like Bill Ayers, and that scares me more. So really, it's a nonpartisan issue. If you're a Democrat, just think Hillary could be president right now, or some other legitimate Democrat. But this guy has basically lied his way to the top.
You're pretty smart about this, Doug. Why do you think that they put up such a flimsy document that even a school kid could recognize that this, you got different font sizes, you've got binary type of script going on? I mean, it's pretty obvious to the...
I'll tell you why. They figure they have the media in their pocket, and partially they're right. The media has defended this guy from day one. If it turns out this guy's a raving fraud and has submitted and produced a forgery of this kind of behavior, they're stuck with it. They're married to him, and they're not going to lose their credibility to the public, because they'd lose all their credibility, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, I think the forger expected them to print the damn thing out, then scan it in color, and then put a flat image up. They didn't do that. Somebody really screwed up.
Yeah. Listen, Doug, it's been great having you today. If we can tap into you a couple of weeks from now to see what progress has been made, I'd love to have you back if you come back once again, let's say in a couple of weeks.
Sure.
Let's see how far this has developed. But thank you.
There'll be an updated one, the final one, probably by this weekend.
All right.
So come back to the website by Sunday or Monday, and you'll have the final one, and I'll do another affidavit also.
All right, and we'll come back to you as well for more of an interview. Thank you, Doug, so very much for being with us today. And
have a great day.
You do the same. All right.